everybody, it's Kia. Welcome back to my channel. I am so sorry for the long pause. It has been really crazy. I wasn't feeling good the last couple weeks. I have just been working too much, sadly. It was crazy, crazy, crazy for us tax professionals trying to get through the end of the year. It has been a crazy year for everybody, and it was just really difficult at work. Like it's just been nuts. But I'm feeling better. My voice is coming back again, thank goodness. And then I started to have computer issues. The kids knocked over my mic, so they actually broke the little plug-in that goes in on my mic. So I'm using my headset. So hopefully the volume's not too crazy for you. Um, and hopefully the sound is okay. But yeah, I had issues with that. And then my computer's not recognizing my webcam again. And it's just stopping on the recording. So I'm actually doing the recording on my other computer. So it's all a little new to me right now. So sorry for any kind of little glitches or anything like that. But since I had all the craziness, I wasn't able to really get a top-down view of my paper planner. And I had so many changes in October we're just going to have to go through it for my October recap. But like I said, I had a lot of changes and I didn't want to give you guys a shaky video. So I figured now is a good time for me to share with you guys how I use YNAB, the features that I love in YNAB, and just kind of how I close out a paycheck budget and how I try to make sure that our money that we're budgeting for certain areas really go to those certain areas, such as auto sinking fund, debt savings, things like that, as well as set up new paper, or I'm sorry, not paper, but new paycheck budgets. Both me and my husband did get paid last week. His paycheck came just a little early, but I'm still going to set it up as its own paycheck budget in November. It's not going to hurt anything for it to be, a day or two off. So, I think it'll be good. So I do like to push my husband's income for the first into whatever month it belongs in. I really prefer to keep his money in the month it belongs to. So in this case, he got paid on the 30th. It was really for the first. So that paycheck is going to be covering November expenses. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump in. Oh, and another quick little thing. Somebody asked me about using YNAB and my paper budget. So I really like using my paper budget because I have a hard, definite, this is what we budgeted for. This is where we ended up at the end of the month. It's just a really good reflection tool for both me and my husband. When using YNAB, it's going to go in there and it's going to auto adjust that beginning budget item for changes that we make since it is a living budget. But it doesn't really give me a whole lot of reflection. The other thing is that even though my computer or my husband is a pretty computer savvy guy, he really digests information when it's black and white on paper. And so that was one of the reasons why we started a paper budget this year, is just so that it gives me and him something to communicate about. It's on paper, there's no changes. Like I said, there's no changes, so I don't have to go in there and explain, well, we had originally budgeted this and now it's this, and things like that. So it's just a really good communication tool for us. And then it just kind of gives us that history and something to look back on as we move forward. So it was really interesting kind of looking at our first couple budgets that we did this year and just kind of how they've turned out so far. We're still working on areas that we overspend on and really trying to nail down those goals and determine how we're going to get around that overspending. But that is just something that we're going to have to continue to work on. And I think we've made some progress in communicating on where we want to move forward. So overall, I feel pretty good for November. So we'll see how it all goes. But let's go ahead and log in and I will show you our YNAB budget. Alrighty, so now that I am logged in, it automatically goes to November. It shows that I have money to be budgeted, so that's both my husband's paycheck and my paycheck. But if I go back to Sorry, I bumped the mouse. But if I go back to October, you can see kind of where I left it. So everything is posted through October. It's now November 3rd. So I do have a few things that I need to go through and post. But first, I need to clean up October so that we can move forward into November without any kind of budget variances. So when you do have budget variances like these, some of this is a little bit of overspending and some of this is spending that we've already done out of our current paycheck. So what I need to do is I need to go through and actually allocate funds to cover these items, because if not, then it's going to take it out of my amount to be budgeted for November. And I want to have control over where the money goes, and I want to clean that up myself. I don't think that the computer should clean up my mess. So that's one thing I need to take care of. So if I come back to October, the first thing that I want to do is I usually just kind of go through and I analyze these ending balances. And generally, when it's not so crazy, I actually do this daily. It's been a couple days and I really wanted to share this video with you. So I left it the way it was after I finished posting everything. I know we have money in the bank, so we're okay. I just need to go through and clean it up. So, what I want to do is, like I said, just kind of go through and analyze anything that I have left over. So medical, I always leave that one left over. Same thing with my spending account buffers. I have one for each account. And then there's a couple other items like fund money and things like that that I don't mind carrying forward a little bit. But areas like these, which are red, as you can tell when I highlight over it, it says a green category is a happy category. Make this category happy by adding funds from surplus categories. So it's yelling at me that I need to clean this up. I've overspent money and I need to pull it from somewhere else. And that is what we're going to do. But areas like this that are orange and green are actually areas that I still have money. So what I like to do is first go through and clean those areas up first, because I do really try to make sure that if I budgeted for something in a specific category, that we use those funds for that category. So right now we are working on building up an auto syncing fund. So this is going to go to our auto syncing fund. And then anything that's bill related, which is going to be this PayPal, it's also going to be the life insurance, telephone, utilities, things like that. I'm going to move it into our debt sinking fund down here. And then later, I'll transfer the money into the debt sinking fund. And as it grows a little bit, that's when I'll determine where I can apply that money and hopefully make an extra payment onto something. So those are just little things that I like to do. I know it seems like extra work, but it just makes me feel like, we're still trying to stick to our goals of paying things off. And I like to address those items first, just to make sure that the money really does go to those areas. So I am actually going to start moving things around. The first thing I'm going to do is address our spending account. Now this is our Bank of America account. So I'm going to move this down to our, not debt, we're going to go to our auto fund. And then later I'll go make a transfer for that. So I'm going to move that there. The other thing I'm going to do is move this PayPal. It needs to go to our debt sinking fund. And then I think that takes care of everything in this account. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here. So life insurance, I had a little bit of a budget variance, so that's going to go to my debt sinking fund. Same thing with the telephone. And everything else looks good. We were waiting until the end of the month to see what my husband's paycheck was before we made our snowball payment. I hated waiting that long, but I just wanted to make sure that we were going to be okay and that I saved enough to cover my husband's short paycheck. He actually ended up being out of work for a week while he was waiting for a COVID test to come back. And thank goodness it came back, but I thought we were really going to be short on his paycheck, so I didn't want to go ahead and make the payment and be short with our expenses at the first of the month, because that's usually when I plan our groceries and all that kind of stuff. So now once we finish our budget, I'll be able to make this payment and we'll get that card paid off. So super, super excited about that. But as you can tell, as I move things around, it increases these dollar amounts for these sinking funds. These are actual savings accounts that I have with Capital One. And what I do is I compare the balance to the balance over here. I record the transfer and I go make the actual transfer online. So that's kind of how I deal with that. So now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and start budgeting for this, because this is going to clean up um, some of these over budgeted items, because this was actually spent out of this paycheck as well as part of my husband's paycheck. But we just have a couple things that we did um, already spend money for out of our paychecks, and I want to start budgeting our paycheck through so that I can account for those and then see what I have left over. So this, I'm not entirely sure how it's all going to work. I had held back $625 out of my last paycheck to make sure that we were going to be able to meet this month's budget. So I'm going to remove that because I'm going to include that now. And the first thing that I like to do, actually, let me put that back really quick. The first thing that I like to do is clean up the change. So I add the change into our buffer each payday. So that's going to leave me with $18.52. Now I can delete that out. And then I can go through and allocate for everything. So for auto fuel, I'm going to add another $75. I'm adding $75 every paycheck for that. Dining out, I think I went a little too high on this, so I might have to shift things around just a little bit to cover the shopping, because I don't want the shopping to carry a negative balance forward into November, because then the software is going to reallocate that for me, and I don't want it to do that. So we're going to allocate 150 to dining. Dining and groceries are kind of our nemesis, I guess. We seem to always have an issue with that. I am also going to allocate $95 for this. And then I'm going to do allowance money. So both me and my husband are going to get $50 to carry forward through the month. He still has a little bit, but we used a little bit. So you'll see how I go through and clean that up here in a minute as well. Household supplies, I am going to add $60 to that. Kids allowance, I need to come down here and add some money to that. And then I need to add the mortgage. Pets. Now we are increasing our pet allowance just a little bit. We actually ended up adopting a kitten and she has a cold. So we've been taking care of her at the moment, and I need to be able to buy some more kitten food. Shopping, we're going to add 105, and see, I'm still going to be short $10, but that's okay. We'll go through and we'll clean that up here after a little bit. And then I need to come down here, allocate some more money towards bills. So these aren't really in a particular order. I have them actually in order based off of when they get paid and out of which account they come from. But they don't match my template is my problem. So, alrighty, so homeschool, I'm going to add another 150 to that, and we are going to start saving for Christmas. So we're going to put 575 back for that. So that looks good. My amount to be budgeted is 0, and now all I need to do is clean up some of these little negative amounts. So I added up how much needed to go towards shopping versus dining. So I'm actually going to cover this with our dining out. And then the other piece that I have over here is our entertainment. The kids purchased a game. So they purchased the game as part of their allowance, and then we bought another game out of my husband's allowance. So I'm going to come down here to the kids' allowance, and I'm going to move $10 from their allowance to cover that game. And the other $18.44 is going to come from my husband's allowance. Alrighty, so I have everything cleaned up. I've got the new budget in place. So I think it's all looking good. And then I just need to make a little note real quick that I need to actually adjust the dining and the shopping. So that we're okay there when before I film my paper budget video for you. Okay, so moving on to November, I have my husband's new paycheck. This was his entire paycheck, so that's good. And I just need to go through and allocate for everything that we're going to budget for on this one. So there again, the first thing that I like to do is put the change towards the buffer. Since I allocated change last time to the other one, I'm going to put $4.94 to the bill account buffer just to give me just a little more in there in case we need it. And then we are also going to allocate, actually, because that's an extra $30 that I didn't have. So we'll go ahead and add that in here for now too. And then I'll decide if I want to add that to our debt savings account. Because whenever we have a bigger amount, I do like to put that towards debt savings. So groceries, we are going to cover the majority of our grocery money out of this paycheck specifically. So I'm going to put $7.15 in here. This does include $200 to go towards a beef purchase. So that's why it is a little higher than what I would normally do. And then we're going to put another $50 towards shopping. And then utilities. I need to find my utilities down here. Anything that doesn't happen on a regular basis, or I'm sorry, not a regular basis, but a set day, I kind of keep it on the top. And then everything that has a date, I have them coded on what day they're going to come out of the bank, or what day I need to budget it for by. And then we're going to come down to our liabilities. So these are all of our credit cards. And we're just going to make our way through. Perfect. So now I've budgeted for everything. So anything in green is good. If I had a carry forward, it's not going to show that I budgeted anything, but it will show that I've already allocated money towards it. So I think we're set there. And then the other cool thing is that I didn't show you on last month, but if I actually click on this, it will show you what makes up the activity for the month. My City of Farmington bill was much lower than that. I just need to go pull the dollar amount. I want to say it was around 150 or so. So that's part of my November cleanup that I need to do. So I'll do that all in one go, but I just kind of wanted to show you guys how I set up my budget. How we're tracking what we have left over for spending and all that good stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching it with me. And I cannot wait to share my paper budget with you. October is going to be just crazy, crazy. It didn't turn out anything like I thought it was going to. But I do want to share that with you, as well as our new debt snowball update. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. If you're new, please consider subscribing. I would love to connect with you going forward. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you guys so much for all the support. I really do appreciate it. I was not feeling very good last week, and just thinking about everything that's been coming up, it has just been very, very stressful. But then I come back and I read your guys' wonderful comments, and I look back at the progress that we have been able to make over the last couple months. And I was also also looking at our undebted account online because I do track that online as well. And I was thinking, gosh, we've actually made quite a bit of progress since we started our journey. So this year was really diving in. We have been on the debt-free journey for a little bit, but it is crazy seeing how much we have already paid out and how much we still have to go. So thank you guys so much for the support. It really does mean a lot to us. It really does just kind of help with that motivation factor. So thank you guys so much, and I cannot wait to see you next time. Have a good week.